All right, so I got a fun one for you today. Today we are going to make a website. Well, not quite. We're going to make parts of a website. We're going to use a program to dynamically generate HTML pages that we are then going to synchronize up to a web server. I know that might be a little bit confusing, but bear with me, it's going to be fun. We're doing this for my friend, Allison's Fago. They are an awesome, weird internet creator. They're one of my mutuals on Instagram, and the creator behind it, the mastermind behind Allison's Fago, reached out to me, and she basically said like, hey, I'm working on this website, but I kind of have to do a lot of this stuff by hand, and I have to repeat a lot of the HTML over and over again. Like, is there a way we can kind of do this? Like, what part of this can we automate? What part of this can we make better? And so we jumped on a quick little call, went through, she kind of explained what was going on, and I was like, oh yeah, we can definitely make this easier. We could do all of this with a simple little program. You might have to get comfortable using the terminal a little bit. So she's totally aware of that, and we're going to make a little program for her meme page so she can generate these beautiful little pages automatically. Now I'll show you what they look like so it's not so amorphous here. So without wasting too much time, take a look at this. Take a look. Here you go. AllisonsFago.com. This is the full website. This is their website. So you can enter the website here, and it is beautiful. It brings you back to the era of think GeoCities websites. You remember the era where there was like the under construction GIF or the counter of how many people have been on a website. Look at this. We are being thanked for going to their online page. How beautiful. The sub project here that we are interested in is the meme graveyard. So the meme, look at this. This is awesome, dude. She's just a weird little art guy on the internet, and I love it. So if you enter the meme archive, here you go. Look at this. This is beautiful. I love this. When I started Allison's Fago, I wanted to create a digital project centered around pop culture and personal nostalgia to explore different ideas and feelings. I also just want to share some laughs from time to time and get some practice doing graphic design, which is my passion. I used to make websites like this as a kid, but when I wasn't doing that, I was browsing odd internet spaces, searching for interesting art and humor. I took a really long internet break in my 20s, and once I logged back in, I found the digital world I left behind no longer existed. I won't read this all for you, but how awesome is that? This is an era that has almost been forgotten, and Allison's Fago is bringing it back for us. So this is super cool. I think it's a really cool project they're working on. So if we enter the graveyard, take a look at this. We have all the different years, all their memes through the years, but look at this. Some of these have strike-throughs on it. I can't actually load 2021, 2022. In fact, I can only load 2020, and I can only load January in 2020 because the rest of it hasn't been done yet, because a lot of this work has been manual. I believe it's hosted on GeoCities, so there's no server-side rendering. If you were to do this with a modern website, what you would do is, there's a couple different approaches. I would say there's 4 main approaches. You could do everything by hand. You can just go through and manually edit every HTML file. This is what they were doing. This is incredibly time consuming and error prone because when you duplicate code, you might get issues. You could do server side rendering. Most modern websites use this where they have some database on the back end. They render the HTML when you request it. So if you go to a social media and log in, what you're seeing is HTML there, but they're doing some sort of server side rendering. They're also mixing it with the third kind, which is client side rendering. We don't have access to the server. Client-side rendering would mean we'd have to do some JavaScript code. It's not great for accessibility. It's terrible for permalinking or SEO reasons. So the fourth option, which is the one that I recommend, which is the one that I think makes the most sense, is we will statically generate the site. So we will use a program to generate all of the HTML files, and then we can just synchronize that up to the server. So that's what we're going to be building today. When you click into one of these links, notice there's a whole bunch here. If I click into let's pick one at random. Here you go. Here is the meme. We can see that it has the date here, the meme image here, and then a little text description of this. So like I said, we jumped on a call. She kind of explained exactly what she wants me to go over, but we have these main pieces of information, and we're going to have to write a program to kind of loop through a database of this information and generate every single HTML page. We have a next and a previous button, so we will need to be aware of what comes next and what came before, and if we're at the end of the list. It's all very doable. We have a download button. This just grabs the GIF image. If you look in the bottom left of my web browser, I'm trying to point. This is going to work. Here, I'll try to point down here. If you look down there, see how I'm pointing at my screen. I'm so stupid. See how it says meme graveyard / meme images / 2020 / Jan / 01.17.2020-1.gif. So we have this universal name we can use. This is going to kind of help us when it comes time to do this. If we were to back out of this, I want to show you guys something very important here, how this website is working under the hood. Watch what happens when I hover over these. You see in the bottom left of my browser, it shows the different URLs. So this one, for instance, it shows 2020 / Jan / 01.27.html. When I click it, look at the URL up here. The URL up here doesn't change. That's because, old websites, this is an iframe. This HTML page is just loaded in an iframe here. Oh my God, that's Home Movies. Dude, I love that show. Oh my God, Home Movies is one of my favorite shows, dude. Coach McGurk incredible. I know a lot of people are like, oh, like I know him from Archer or whatever, or Bob's Burgers. Great shows, dude. I love H. John Benjamin. But like, Coach McGurk was my first foray into it. Like, oh my gosh, it's just so funny. Brendan. Yeah, no, it's this guy on the internet named Allison Sfago, and he makes memes, Brendan. You know what memes are, Brendan? Yeah, of course you do. I see you on your phone. You should be playing soccer. I'm done. This is terrible. I can't do it. I can't do that. This is actually a trait I literally didn't know I'd come across. This is awesome. But yeah, so same deal here. We have the date up here. We have the link to the image. We have a little text blurb, and then we have the previous, the download, and the next button. And the cool thing is, if you kind of notice, let me backspace out of here, it has the date there. So it's at like January 27th or whatever. If we hover over this, we can see in the URL 1.27.2020. So embedded in the actual like universal ID of this, we can extract the date and stuff. So this is going to be really cool. The goal of this project is to sort of have a database. So Allison Sfago, she's going to keep this database. It's basically like, think like an Excel spreadsheet. I think it's using numbers on macOS. It's going to be able to be exported as a CSV. So we're going to read in that CSV file, comma separated values with a program, and we are going to output a series of HTML pages. So we're going to take one HTML page, kind of use it as a template, and then output the rest of them based on that with the file name structure in place. Some more prereqs before we jump into this project. Because I'm not coding this for myself, I'm coding this for someone else, I wanted to make sure it would work in her environment. So Allison Sfago, they're using a Mac, which is super nice because I am actually programming this all on a Mac. So during the Discord call, I was like, hey, can you check to make sure you just have like Python installed? Because I know Mac ships with like user bin Python. It may not be there. You might have to install the Xcode tools or something. But for most systems, there's like a relatively new version of Python. I think it was like 3.9. So it should have like CSV parsing. It should have basic HTML encoding libraries. It should have all the basic stuff we need to get this working. So this is going to be fun. We're going to write this in Python because I know it'll work on their system. I'm not the best Python programmer, so I'm gonna have to learn some stuff across the way. And you guys have never seen me program Python. This is gonna be a brand new video for that. It's really a lot of fun. And yeah, we're just gonna see what we can get working. The goal of this is, I would like it if she doesn't have to open a terminal and run a command. That sounds weird, but on Mac OS, you can make these files called .command. They can literally just be scripts. You can make a Python script or a Bash script or a shell script. I'm talking to the nerds right now. As long as it's executable and it's called .command, you can double click it and it will run. Now, it runs out of your home directory. There's some weirdness there. We might have to go into our own current directory, and it will pop open a terminal, but that's my goal there. I think I want to make like, here's a program. It'll be in a folder on your desktop. You open up that folder. She called this Website Factory, so I'll just call it Website Factory. I want there to be a program. You double click. It will read a CSV file and an HTML file that exist in that directory, and then it will produce all of the HTML files into like some sort of output directory. That would be my goal. A very simple workflow where you don't have to touch the terminal that much. That's kind of my goal with this project, and yeah, I guess we'll see what we can do. Now, for the development work, I will do this in my normal development directory. So I'm going to be playing the role of two people right now. I'm going to be Dave, the developer who's making this code, and then once we get it all working, I'm going to be Dave, the person who ships this code, which is something you really haven't seen on this channel. So I'm going to make all this code available. It's going to be on GitHub. It's going to be open source. Anyone can pull it, but then I'm going to include a really simple set of instructions for someone, for Allison Sfago in this case. I'm going to make really simple instructions they can follow where it will just pull the one command and put it in the right directory on their desktop. So I'll basically say, hey, just copy and paste these like, couple commands into your terminal. They'll get that command and then it'll be all ready for them to run. That's the goal here. But for the development cycle, we're going to do the development here. Everything's going to be running on the terminal. So right here, I think we'll just call it, let's just call it Fago. We'll put everything in Fago, and this will be like a list of utilities for Allison Sfago, because I imagine this probably won't be the... iTerm 2 just crashed. I have no idea. It literally just crashed. There was no reason. It gave me a crash reporter and everything. Like, what happened? I have no idea. That's so funny. Yeah, so live demo, everyone. It just crashed. And we lost everything. Okay, that's fun. Let's just go ahead and reconfigure everything. So you guys will get to see some background on how this works. Let's close out of that. And let's just do a simple... I have a little script called horizontal stream, and it just completely resizes the terminal so we can use it for the horizontal stream. Because I used to stream in this layout before I even recorded videos in this layout. That's some real inside knowledge there. That's really funny. That should not have happened. I'm not going to cut that out of the video because that's hilarious. So, dev Fago. let's go ahead and make their website factory. So we have, that's not right, website factory is what we want. Let's go ahead and get rid of website factor. There we go. So we have a nice little directory here called website factory. We'll do all the work in here. So we can call this website factory dot, I guess we'll call it py. We'll probably save it as dot command, but yeah, let's do that. So website factory, and we're going to make a Python script. So user bin env python 3. I believe that's what the installed one is called. I think it's just Python 3. Yeah, so this will work, but we're also using user bin env. So if down the road she decides to install it through like Homebrew or whatever, it'll just work. If you're a nerd, you know what I'm talking about. If you're just, if you're an art connoisseur, this might be a little bit confusing, but don't worry, I'm going to make this easy. This next part of the video, this is for the nerds, it's people that want to follow the code, all right? So if you're up for that, I welcome you along for the ride. It has been a long time since I've written Python. I think it's like this, right? You make a function called main. We could print hello world. And then down here, we could say if name equal main. I remember this because it's just so weird. Then we'll run the main function. So this will determine if the program is being executed directly, and then it will print hello world. So if this all works, we should just get hello world, right? If we chmod +x website factory, and then we run it. I didn't even call it website. I called it website factor. Apparently it's just easy to type that. Let's go ahead and rename that to website factory. There we go. Simple enough. We ran it and we get hello world. So we're done. Yeah, video over. No, I'm kidding. All right, let's figure out exactly what our goals are here. Before we get coding, I'm going to take some data that Allison Sfago has given me because during the Okay, I've actually found a real iTerm2 bug. Apparently, when one of the windows goes to resize, it gave me a warning and it actually crashes. iTerm2 crashed. I know why. I'm going to do an upgrade and I'm going to avoid doing what I've been doing, and I will deal with it after this video. So let me just get everything reconfigured. I'll probably actually just cut this part from the video. Okay, so here's the two pieces of data. I'm just pulling these from Discord. I'm not going to share that part of my screen, but we have data.csv, and this is what the CSV file looks like. This is just one meme in there as an example, but here's what it looks like. It has the name of the tables up here, which I actually think will be a problem and is kind of my fault, but we'll deal with that when it comes up. We have meme ID and meme text. So the meme ID is its unique ID. Now embedded in there, you can see the date. We have that in the US standard format. So we have the month, the day, the year, and then dash a number. So it's unique. The reason is because one day could have multiple memes on it. So this is just a way of identifying it beyond the timestamp. So we have more than 24-hour resolution. And then we have the meme text here. This is just arbitrary text for the meme. This will just get dumped in the HTML page. Our program it doesn't have to parse any of this. We will parse the ID to get the data of it, but we don't have to parse anything in the text, which is nice. Now, when I asked Allison Sfago to export this, one of the things I had her do was go to the additional options in numbers and say include table names. I think that's why we have this extra line up here. I think this is going to break Python CSV parsing. We may have to skip the first line. We'll deal with that when we get to it. It could be my fault, but we can work around it. So it's not a huge deal. The other thing we need is a template HTML page. So if you remember here, I can just grab any one of these. It doesn't matter. Let's just go ahead and grab this one. Beautiful. If we right click here, is there a way to copy the frames window? Open frame in new tab. And now we have this. This is just the iframe. As you can see, there's some weird styling. It goes off the page, but when it's loaded in the other page, it should be fine. So here it is here. We're just going to grab this source code and we're going to wget that. So wget this whole page. And I don't know what it'll save as. Oh, it just saved as 01. That's an annoying name. We're going to call this template.html. So what we did is we downloaded that entire page as HTML, and here is the HTML. We're calling it template because we're going to go through and we're going to clean up some of the hard-coded things, like where it says January 27th here. We're just going to replace this with something, and then the Python program will be able to replace it like with the current date or whatever. If you see all this highlighted green, this is white space here. So whatever Allison Sfago is using to edit the HTML, it doesn't show you this extraneous white space. I'm going to clean it up. It's HTML. Extraneous white space really doesn't hurt. In fact, there could be some indenting that goes on to make this a little bit nicer to look at. So we may do some of that cleanup, but it's not really the most important thing. I don't mind the HTML being like this. So here we go. Here's the website. Let's worry about that as we get to it, but we have a template HTML file and we have a data.csv, which looks like that. Cool. Let's pull up the website factory again and let's figure out what we want to do first. So I think what actually makes sense here is going to be a little different than how I normally program. I think we're just going to hard code some files. Well, I say hard code and then I'm actually making global variables with the name of the file. So I can't even hard code. I'm not even good at that. We're just going to do this for now. We're going to say that if you want to use this program, you need these files and they need to be named this way. Like I said, I think this is going to be useful for using this program as someone who maybe doesn't want to use the terminal or isn't super comfortable in the terminal 24/7. So we have the CSV file and the HTML file. There we go. Could we take these as arguments? Yes, absolutely. And maybe we'll add that functionality, but for now, we're not really going to bother with it. So let's go ahead and get rid of that hello world thing here. And now we can open up the CSV file. I think that's the first thing we need to do. We need to open up the CSV file and make sure that we can actually parse it and it looks good. Now, if you've worked with Python before, I know there's a couple different ways to do this. I'm used to the with notation. You can say with, open, and then I think you give it the name of the file. And then you have to specify a couple different flags where it's like the read mode. We just want to read the file. I don't know if we actually need this. Do we need the encoding here? I've always done it. I think you need it. And then we can give it a name as file. There we go. So now we have this file object. It's actually like it's like a pointer to something. I think it has like a seek on it. I think it's like sort of an abstraction on top of a file descriptor. So we can pass this to like a CSV reader. I'm gonna have to pull up documentation for this, but that's not a huge deal. All right, so here we go. I pull up the documentation here. You have to import CSV with open, and then you just open this as CSV file. What is this? I don't even know this syntax. Sure. Reader equals CSV dict reader, because we're going to store it in a dictionary, and then we will actually be able to get the names out of it. Remember the names were meme text and meme ID. We should be able to pull it out of this way. Again, we might have to skip the first line. We'll deal with that when we deal with that. Let's go ahead and just copy some of this over and work on it from there. So let's move this import up here. In fact, you know what? Let's go ahead and do this. Generate HTML pages for the meme graveyard. And I have this nice little macro. There we go. Now we have my nice little licensing header, stuff like that. So this will all be released under the MIT open source license. Feel free to take this code, do with it whatever you want. So let's modify this to just look a little bit the same. I don't know what new line equals that is. Let's just add it. Why not? Maybe that has something to do with like some DOS to Unix thing. I guess I could look it up, right? Okay, I actually have no idea what that does. We'll leave it, but it could be a problem when it comes time to possibly skip the first line, if that is a problem. So if we do this, I think we can do this. Does this look right? So we open the file, we save it as file, and then we create a new reader object, which is the dictionary reader on top of it, and then we just loop over the rows in there, and then we print row first name and row last name. Those aren't the name of the fields. Let's just print the row and see what it says. I think this should work. So if we run website factory here, unexpected indent. Oh yeah, can't just indent it like that. Oh man, I forgot some languages care about how you indent things. Oh, Python's so fun. Oh, is it because readers defined in here? Do we have to do it inside this with open thing? Yep, there we go. Okay, so look at this. We have the key website factory, which points to meme ID, and then none points to an array of meme text, and then website factory points to this, and none points to that. This is clearly wrong. This is exactly what I said was going to happen. It's because of that line at the beginning of the CSV. It's because of this line here, which again, I think is my fault that I told Allison's Fago to do that. So that's super annoying. We can skip it. We could probably do some logic to figure out like a smart skip on it. I have a really gross way of fixing it. Okay, you ready for this? We can extract that line before we even do the parsing on it. We can extract that line with calling next on the file object, and then we can look at that line. So let's print that line, and then we'll go ahead and do the rest of the parsing. I think this will work. There we go. So we get website factory out of that, and then we have meme ID as this, and meme text is this. That's exactly what we want. This is great. What we need to do is, now that we've stripped that line, we just need to check if we should be stripping the line. Not beautiful, but because we know there's going to be at least 2 records, there will be a comma in the line if we care about it. So you ready for this? If, comma, in line. So if there is a comma in there, meaning there was no table thing at the beginning, then we will reverse back the file. We will literally seek back to the beginning of the file. Otherwise, the line will effectively be skipped. This is a little bit confusing, but skip over the first line if it does not have a comma in it. This is because numbers.app on Mac seem to export with the table name. That's the best we got here. Parse it as CSV. There we go. So I think this should work. Let's go ahead and rerun this. And look at that. We get one record. We have the ID and we have the meme text. Beautiful. That's exactly what we wanted. So I think the next step is, instead of printing the row, let's go ahead and process the row. So we'll call process row on row. We haven't made this function. We're just hallucinating it. We're basically like an LLM, except there's an actual human brain here. Let's create this function, process row. This will take a row object and then it will just do the processing for it. So we could do something like this. We could grab the two fields out of it. So we know there's meme ID and meme text. We just have to grab both those fields out of it and we can save them. ID just turned blue. Is ID a special variable in Python? It might be. Maybe I'm breaking things. We're going to find out. I guess, let's be good. Let's just call this meme ID and we will call this meme text. And if this works, we should be able to print meme ID and print meme text. Let's back out of here. Let's run it. Look at that. This is beautiful. We get the meme ID here and we get the meme text here. This is cool. This is really good, actually. Let's go ahead and actually just print something useful now. Like print, I think you can do format strings with F like this. Oh man, I know a little bit more Python than I let on. We could say processing meme ID. There we go. And now we'll actually just do this for every meme that we process. There's only one for this example, but that's what it will look like for every one that we process. Now I'm excited for this next part because Alice and Sfego was very worried. They were like, I don't actually know how you're going to get this out. This is going to be wild. I don't know how you're going to pull this off. This part right here, this is a string in our language and we need to extract meaningful information. We need to get the month, the day, the year, and the unique little ID portion, the number portion, the GUID. I don't know what you would call this. I'm just going to call it num. We need to extract that out of this. Now, here's the thing. For my nerds watching this, regular expressions is what my brain immediately jumped to. We can just create a regular expression for this, and that totally works. However, I want to keep this code simple, easy to work with, something that maybe Alison Sfego in the future can work with and mess with, because she's a bit of a hacker. She'll mess with code until it works. So I think an easier way is to replace a hyphen with a period, or replace the period with hyphens. It doesn't really matter which way we go. Make all of them uniform. So make it like 01-17-2020-2. Then we can split them on dashes. Then we'll have an array of each value. So I'll show you what that looks like. I'll do one of my favorite things is I will comment what we currently have. So meme ID is equal to this. That's an example. So we'll just say example, meme ID is equal to this. Now we can do this. We can say s equals meme ID dot replace, and we're going to replace the periods with hyphens. Every period with every hyphen. Then when we get to this part of the code, s will equal 01-17-2020-2. That's what it will look like. We can prove this. We can print s right here as we go along. So let's go ahead and run that and see what happens. Look at this, 01-17-2020-2. How beautiful is that? So let's go ahead and split it now. We could say s equals s dot split on hyphens. There we go. So let's print s. We can say ex s equals. We don't have anything yet, but let's go ahead and print it and look at what it equals now. So if you've never seen this before, this is an array. This is a data structure in Python. I can grab these 4 elements out of the array. They're all technically strings. They're not really numbers, but that's not important right now. There we go. That's what s looks like now. So let's do this. Month equals s at spot 0. Day equals s at spot 1. Actually, that should probably be... No, day's fine. Year, s at spot 2. And num, we're just going to call it num for that unique part of the identifier, is there. So you see what we're doing? We're grabbing each one of those 4 fields. So we could say something like month equals month, day equals day, year equals year. I won't even bother printing it all out, but here we go. So if we run this, look at this. Month is 01, day is 17, year is 2020. We've extracted this all from there. How cool is that? We know a lot of good information about this file already. Now, if you remember, let me pull up the HTML file and kind of remind you guys of what's going to go on here. We need to know the full month day for this. So if we have like 01, we need to be able to turn it into the long month day, January. But then look down here, we also need the shortened version. We need Jan and Feb and Mar. So there's date libraries we can use. There's only going to be 12, so we'll just hard code them. And by hard code, I mean we'll make a table of them. It'll be very simple. We'll put in a function. That totally makes sense. So we do need to be able to get the long month. I'll call this one long month and call this one short month. Trying to think if there's anything else we might need. Probably not for now. We also don't do any validation yet. So like technically speaking, you know, if she wanted to mess with us, she could give us like month 13, day 47. We'll figure out, you know, we'll burn that bridge when we get to it. So let's make some functions here. Let's make a function called small. We'll call it get small month. You give it the number of a month and it will return the string that is the small version of this. The easiest way to do this, I think, is to just make a simple map here where we can say, I'll show you what I mean. If they gave us 01, then we will return Jan. If they gave us 02, then we will return Feb. And then to return it, we'll just return months at spot months. That's it. That's all we need. And this should raise an exception if the key is not found. I think we do get some sort of key error. But yeah, now I just have to go through this and do this 12 times. Probably edit this out because this will be super boring. But if anyone's curious, you can use Control A in Vim to increment the number in place. That's all I'm doing. Control X to decrement if you go too far. You could also say like, oh, I need to increment this by 6 Control A. And then that, oh, it thinks it's octal because of the leading 0. Okay, don't do that. Just do it by hand and hopefully don't make any mistakes. And if I make mistakes after the cut, you guys will see it and I won't, and you'll be yelling at me the whole video. So how fun is that? There we go. Now we have the get small month function. So let's go ahead and test this now. So we have all the data here. We can do this. Small month equals get small month of the month number. So now we have this. Let's go down to this. We'll say small month equals small month. So pretty ugly, but this will just show us that at least what we're writing works. So if we run this, look at this, small month, it knows that 01 is Jan. Perfect, beautiful, that's amazing. Oh my God, if you guys were about to yell at me, don't worry, I caught it. Look at this, Doc. Yeah, how about December? That probably is better. All right, so now we have get small month. We just need get big month. Get large month? I don't know. What did I call it? Let's call it get big month. We already have small month. Let's do get big month. Now that I'm thinking about this, we totally could have wrote get big month first and then called it from small month and just trimmed the first 3 letters of it. I like this one better, even though it's a little bit more verbose. It's very clear, I think. February. That looks so dumb to me. February. Yeah, that's why it looks dumb to me. That's why it looked dumb to me. It looked dumb to me because it was wrong. Good. All right, well, my system for detecting things is wrong is working. It looked dumb. March, April, May, June, July, August, September. Small and big? No. Yeah. Large. Small and large. There we go. Got to think in Coke sizes because I'm from the US. So small month is this. Large month, I also like that large is the same number of letters as small, so the code looks very nice. There we go. Let's run that, see what happens. Small month is Jan, large month is January. Hey, look at this. We're already getting good information here. This is fantastic. So let's figure out what we want to do now. I think what makes sense is to figure out the pages, the layout that we want to do. So if we look at the HTML that we have here, it's a little bit tough to look at, but you can see this. We link to the actual image itself, which is the year, the small month, and then the whole entire meme ID and then .gif. But if you look at the previous and the next, look at this. They only link to the month and then the ID. It doesn't even link to a specific year. It just does the /Jan, which is nice because if you're in 2020, it's only going to link to the 2021s. So that makes sense. It might be a little bit hard to follow what I said there. but I think that helps us because now we know how these HTML files should be laid out. The HTML files should be laid out in, you know what, actually, let's just pull up the website. It's probably the safest way to look at it. Look at this. Okay. So we have the year, the small month, and then the ID. Now, here's the interesting thing. It's just the ID. It's not the ID.html. It's just the ID. So it's probably .index.html or /index.html. It is not. We have broken the website. Okay, surprising. It might be .htm, index.htm. It's not that. It might actually be .html, and the server is just handling for this. It could just be this .html. It is. And the server's rewriting it. Okay, interesting. All right. This affects how we save the HTML file. We're going to save it as year, small month, ID.html. Now we know what that looks like, so we can go over here and write that out. So if we're in here, we know that our file path will be the year, the small month, the meme ID.html. That's what it will look like. Now we should probably also come up with an output directory, I think. So output dir equals, we'll just call this out. And that way we can just sort of prepend that to whatever we're working on here. I'm not going to change my current working directory because of the stuff I mentioned earlier with the .command stuff on Mac OS. That's going to affect things here. We'll have to deal with that in a bit. But for now, we'll just put it here. So we can just say output dir /year /small month /meme idea. Now, obviously, as you notice, hopefully none of these things have slashes in them. If she gives us a CSV file with bad or malicious data in it, then we'd have to worry about that. Someone could technically inject slashes here. This could be a problem. She's in control of that database. She's the one in who's doing it. So Alice and Sfago would have to break it themselves. I'm not worried about that. I think this is something we probably don't have to sanity check. Maybe it might make sense to, just to be kind of nice, I guess, if this program just broke and if this program raised an error instead of just breaking, that might be a good thing to do, but it's probably fine. Okay, now that I'm thinking about it, I kind of do want to validate the input. I think it'd be nice just to make sure, once we get to this point, that the string should only ever contain numbers and hyphens. I think that might be the safest thing to do here. It's not the prettiest, but we can do it. We can do it with regex, so we are going to use regular expressions here. I had to look up how to do this. I didn't quite know how to do the regex engine in Python, but luckily it's very simple. We can just say this. We can say if regex.search and the pattern that we're looking for, and the pattern could be start of the string, 0 through 9, or a hyphen. It has to be any one or more of those characters, +, end of the string. It's very esoteric if you've never seen it. All we're basically saying is that, from the beginning of the string, it has to be 0 through 9, or it has to be a literal hyphen, one or many times. So it has to be at least once and then many times. And then there's a $sign there, meaning the end of the string. So we're saying basically this string has to be comprised of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or a hyphen at every single part of the string. And then the string we actually want to test is S. So if not this, then we should raise an error. I think we just raise value error. This might be the wrong kind of error. I need my Python people in the audience to let me know what I should be raising here. Input format is invalid. Let's do that. This will just make sure the input looks valid. This is a nice thing too. If something is just broken, if you make a mistake in the CSV file, this won't break. So if this works, it should not raise the error. Or we just get complete syntax errors here. Beautiful. Expected string or bytes got list. Is this after we split? It's after we split. Yeah, I'm stupid. We have to do it here. We have to do it before we split because we basically just gave it a list. There we go. Perfect. It does not raise an error. That is perfect. That means our input is valid. So now we can safely do things like this with our input because we know there's not going to be slashes in it. We know we're not going to break stuff. So let's go ahead and get rid of this. And let's just say print file path. So what this means is when I run this, the meme that has this ID should result in a file that looks like this. Hey, That looks right, right? Imagine if that file existed. It doesn't exist. We didn't create the file. But if this program does what it should do, then it should create that file for us. So let's do that. Before we can create the file, we have to actually create the underlying directories. Now, luckily, there is an OS module for Python, and this gives us access to like the file system and things like this. So we have the file path here. We can get the dir path, which is super easy. We can use os.path.dir name. This is a classic dir name function that you would find in most languages. You give it the name of the path here. There we go. Now we have the directory name. And the reason we have this is because there's os.makedir, but hold on. Python has make dirs, which will create them recursively for us and not error out if they already exist. So this is beautiful. Dir path, and then we have to say exists okay equals true, meaning if they already exist, that's okay. Don't worry about them. That's totally fine. So let's rerun this and get an error. That's awesome. Oh, because I pluralized it. Look at this. There we go. Run this. Look at that. Now, why is that important? Look, we have an out directory. If we list the out directory, we have 2020. If we list that, we have Jan. It created those folders for us. Do you not understand how cool that is? That's awesome. This is beautiful. The goal here is to make all these file structures automatically, put HTML files in them, and then Alison Sfago, she could just go over and just drag that over to NeoCities through however you FTP, SCP, I have no idea. So I think the next step here is we need to actually read in that HTML file and do some templating based on that. That's not a huge deal. It's actually pretty simple to work with. So we can do the same exact thing. I always type white for some, I don't know why. With open HTML file, mode equals R, encoding equals UTF-8. I'm not gonna do that new line thing because I have no idea what's going on there. As file, I think we can use the same name here, right? We could say HTML equals file.read. And I think we have access to HTML down here. So if we process the row, we can also pass in the HTML. I think this will work. And then process row up here, we'll take HTML as the second argument. I think this will work. It does not, because I typed encoding wrong. Enocting. Nice, beautiful. I'm awesome, I can spell. Hey, okay, that's awesome. That's really cool. So that means when we process each row, we also have the HTML. So what we could do now is ensure the directory exists, write the HTML file to the directory. We should clean this up a little bit. Maybe we'll put color in the output, make it nicer to look at. I don't know, because we do want, like, I know the terminal can be scary. We do want it to give useful information. We might have to do a little bit of formatting here. We might go above and beyond here. But now that we've done that, now we need to write data to a file. Same deal as before. It's almost exactly the same. I typed white again. I don't know why. With open the file path, and this time we will open it as writing, encoding, and octing. Encoding equals UTF-8 as file. We can do a file.write, and then we will just put what we want to write to it. For now, we're just going to put the unmodified HTML. It's just going to basically be copying that template into each one. So if we run this now, look at that, created out 2022, Jan, whatever. So if we were to vim out 2022, Jan 01, it has that data in it. Do you see how cool that is? It ran all of that and it has all the right data. Well, it doesn't have all the right data. So what we have to do now is we have to templatize what we call template.html. And then we have to write to that template and make things better. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So right here, we have January 27, 2020. It's not exactly what we want. Imagine if it was like this, percent pretty date percent. Nothing special about the percent signs. I'm just coming up with something obvious that lets us know that we are templating. This is our own templating format. We're not getting too crazy here. We're just keeping things very simple. If we go into our website factory here, we can do some magic to that HTML, right? So templatize the HTML now. Because that HTML was copied in, when you send a string to a Python function, you get a copy of it, right? It's passed by value for strings. It has to be passed by value for strings, right? I guess we're going to find out. We're going to see what happens. But long story short, we're going to open that HTML. We have that HTML content and it's passed to this function. So we're going to replace something. So I'll show you what I mean. I think it might be easier to explain this in code. HTML equals HTML dot replace. We're going to replace %prettydate with the pretty date. Now we have not created this variable yet, so let's go ahead and create that variable. Pretty date equals, we have to go look at her format that she was using, which I already modified the file. But if I remember, it was the long date. It was like this, right? It was like January 27, 2020, something like that. So we will do that by doing the large month, day, comma, year. There we go. There's our pretty date. And then we've replaced the pretty date below. Templatize the HTML now. So now if we do this, if we rerun this, we're going to see if this works. So there we go. It's created that new HTML file. If we vim that new HTML file that it created and we go up here, look at this. That looks right. We could even just verify that it's working by doing something like this. We could replace pretty date with like underscore, underscore, underscore that. And underscore, 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 just to prove that it shows up there. So if we rerun Website Factory, we open up the output, look at this, it has underscores in it. So we are reconstructing that string using code. How sick is that, dude? That's awesome. Okay, perfect. We just have to go through and templatize the rest of it. It's gonna get a little complex because we are gonna have to talk about previous and next, but we'll deal with that when we deal with it. So let's go ahead and clean this up a little bit. We have this, this, and this. What else do we want to mess with? Let's pull up our template and see what's going on. Now also, if you're watching this and you're worried, I'm a little bit worried too, because the order in which we replace things matters, because imagine if Alison Fago had some meme text that had % something % in it. Or imagine if the meme text had HTML in it. Do we want to support that? Do we want to break? We can deal with when we deal with it. We might have to do HTML encoding on it. I'm leaning towards not doing that and allowing her to just put raw HTML in the meme text. But this is something where I will pick one way, roll with it, and then when I ship this code over to her, say like, hey, like this is where we are. Like, let me know what you actually want. Do you want to be able to put HTML in your meme text? Or do you want like to not have to do that? Because if she puts a less than or greater than sign in her meme text, it's going to break things. We haven't gotten to that point yet, but it's going to break things. Here we go. Look, the text goes right here. Let's talk about that. Meme text. There we go. That's the meme text. Was it somewhere else on the page? Was it an alt text? What do you wrote? Audi? Ah, it shows up in two places. You do put it in the alt text. Okay, that's good to know. That's very good to know. So now we almost certainly have to HTML encode it. You can't put raw HTML there. Yeah, okay, that kind of answered our own question. We will call this meme text %, and this will be meme text. So I hope that makes sense what I'm saying. Imagine if she had less than or greater than signs in that text and we just put them in the HTML, we'd break the HTML. Luckily, we can encode these. There's HTML like entities encoding. I believe Python should have support for that. It should just work. So let's say meme text equals, I think we actually just call it meme text there. Okay, so we are going to overwrite it. We're going to do some HTML encoding. I'm going to look this up in Python because I actually don't know how to do it. Yeah, I think you just do HTML.escape the raw text, so meme text. And that should just work. We can import HTML. I think this will be here. Let's go ahead and sort these two. There we go. So if I run this, let's just see if it works. Oh, wow, Python namespacing. Oh my God, when you import HTML here, it's in the same namespace as the variable. So the fact that we call the variable HTML has overridden it. Oh, wow. Template HTML. That's crazy if that's, I guess that's true, right? Okay. Wow, they share the same namespace? They do, don't they? Wow. Okay. Wow, they do. Okay, that's wild. That's okay. Oh, I'm spoiled by the languages that I write. All right, so we have meme text and meme text because we didn't actually replace it. So let's go ahead and add that logic. Where we have s.replace this, we're going to do this. So remember, if Allison's Fago decides to put something like %pretty date % in the meme text, well, I guess if we do meme text last, it's not the biggest deal. This is brittle. This code's a little bit brittle. I'm just going to say that. We probably should be using a proper templating engine, but this works. I think this is pretty safe to kind of understand what's going on here. So if we open up this file, it's a nice day to break up my GFV text and delete this many things. It's a nice day. So nice, beautiful. It's replaced it with this, which I think is totally valid and fine. It's good. So it's protected us against a single quote there. Let's go double check by just modifying the CSV file here. Let's change this to the less than and greater than sign, just because those will cause problems. So if we run this again and we look at the output that it generated, yes, look at this, ampersand greater than, ampersand LT for less than, ampersand greater than, ampersand LT. Perfect, beautiful. That's what we want. We are safely escaping this data. That is good. So she could safely put HTML characters in the text and it will just show up as literal characters. It won't get interpreted as HTML, which is what we want. That's good. Now there is more we need to do here because we are generating the file. We have the date in the file. We have the meme text in place. We need this image to be taken. This has to be given to us. So maybe we'll call it like meme image. And then we also have this text box down here, which takes a couple different things. I think let's just go one at a time. We're going to make this string the meme image. So let's do that. The meme image is the year / the small month / the ID dot GIF. What did I call it? I called it meme ID to avoid it turning blue. I don't actually know why it does that. So that's the meme image, and then we will replace meme image with meme image. There we go. Let's pull back up the template, and then we can put that everywhere. So here's the meme image. We'll just get rid of it from here to there. That way this ... / memes images, Allison's Fago, we can talk about that. There may be better ways to do this. But this will just work, and you can modify that in the HTML. That is crazy. Okay. -2.gif. I guess I can just search for that. Okay, so it shows up. Oh, I see what's going on. Okay, follow my mouse. Here's the less than. Here's the previous page. Here's the next page. And we could probably break this onto multiple lines, but I won't bother for now. And then here's the current one. You have a download button by creating a download attribute, which points to the same image. That makes sense. I understand what's going on here. Okay. So this will be meme image again with a %. And this will also be meme image with a %. Okay. So I think the only thing left here, everything else is the same. Yeah, I think the only thing left here is the previous and the next. That'll be a little bit more difficult. We'll have to create more rows in the CSV file to test it effectively. But if we run the program and we pull it up here, it has all the right stuff. So that's great. And this just pulls back to, oh, and you even put .html here. You actually link directly to HTML, but technically you shouldn't have to because it seems like your server handles that. You don't even need this, really. I might make some modifications to this, but I think it's fine. Well, let's leave it as is because we know this works. So here's what we're going to do, Allison's Fago. We're going to take your CSV file and we're going to make some new memes, okay? I made a meme on the 16th, the 17th, and the 18th. This is my first meme. This is my second meme. This is my third meme. There we go. So now we have 3 memes, okay? So let's get rid of the out directory because we're going to recreate it. Let's take a look at what we have. Run the website factory. We have created 3 new pages. So if we look at a tree of out, here's what it looks like. We have 2020 and we have Jan, and we have those 3 files. That is great. Let's figure out how to figure out what is previous and what is next. We could technically disable those buttons. I have to figure out how I want to do this. Because here's what I'm thinking about, Allison's Fago. If we're on the first page and there's nothing previous to us, we'll have to figure out where to go. For now, I think we're going to go nowhere. For now, we can modify this later, but for now, I think if you're at the very first meme of that month, then we are going to go nowhere. We can figure out how that works, but for now, no, this is cool. It won't even be the first meme of the month or the last meme of the month. It will just be the first meme ever or the last meme ever, which I think is fine. If you're at the first meme, you can't go back. And if you're at the last meme, you can't go back. But actually, the way I'm thinking about this logic, we'll handle different months just fine. Yeah, let's do that right now, actually. Our first meme will be at 2020. Our next meme will be 2021. And our next meme will be April 2025. Nothing special about this. We're just picking different dates and different years so we can make sure that it all works. This is cool. Okay, I'm excited for this. We have to do some work here. Okay. We have to kind of change how we've been approaching some of this stuff. I think we're going to have to make more functions here because here's what we're doing. Every time we process a row, we're only processing that specific row of the CSV. So if we're looking at the CSV, when we're processing a row, we're just processing this row. In the new world, we're going to have to process the row above it and the row below it. We're going to have to process previous and next. So we're technically have to process 3 rows at once, which means we're going to have to really change how we're doing things here. Not a problem, just means that we're going to have to change some stuff. So here's what I'm thinking we'll do. Let's call this rows. We'll make a new list, and then we will just store rows inside rows. We can do rows.append row, and then we won't process it there. We will go down here, and we can do for... Okay, this is super gross. I had to look it up. There is an enumerate function that we're going to use here. If you're confused as to what's going on, we're going to loop over the list of rows that we have, but we're going to need to grab 3 fields from it. So we want to grab the current row that we're looking at, the one above it, and the one below. If there's nothing above it, we want none. If there's nothing below it, we want none. Otherwise, we want to grab it. So we have to do this for index and current in enumerate the list rows. So we're going to be adding numbers to them. So that's why we have index and we have current. We need to be able to now grab the previous one and the next one. So previous, oh, is it not going to like that I'm overwriting next to it? Man, this Python name spacing is so weird. What do we call this? Previous item? Sure, why not? Will be whatever's in the list, so rows, at spot index -1. But I think this will throw an error. I don't think it'll return none. I think it'll throw an error, meaning we have to capture that or only do this under certain circumstances. So we have previous, we have next. So when we process a row, we need to process current, previous, prev item, next item, and the template HTML. I don't think this is going to work, but we're going to run it. Oh, right, because I didn't actually add those arguments. Current, prev, next, template. Okay. Yep. Okay. Index out of range. So what we have to do here is we have to do some gross things. No, we don't. We're in Python. Oh my God. We don't have to do gross things. We're in Python. Python has this stupid, weird syntax that I never understood, but it works. If the index is greater than 0, are we off by 1? If the index is greater than 0. Yes, if it's greater than 0, then we want to get the previous one, else none. I forgot about this kind of syntax. Dude, Python is wild. Okay, you know what? I take it back. Python's actually awesome. If index is less than the length. Is that right? The length of rows. Is it off by 1? No. Else none. I think that's what we want. I did something wrong. I think we're off by 1. If it's less than the length of rows, -1. Yeah, we're off by 1. That's huge. That's huge. That means, I know this is some gnarly syntax to look at, but that means when we process a row, we also have the row above it, and we also have the row below it. That is huge, because we can put all of this into a function. We can put all of that into a function. We can make a function called parse row. And that will take a single row, whether it's the previous, next, or the current, who cares? It'll take a single row and it will give us all of the information for it. I know it's a little confusing. Bear with me while I show you what that looks like. We're going to take all this. We're going to put this into parse row. So we have the meme ID. We have the meme text. We're going to do all the work on it to validate it, make sure it looks good, make sure we've pulled out all of the information about it. And then we will return an object that represents all of the information that is in that, okay? So that will have a meme text, which points to the meme text. That will have a meme ID, which points to the meme ID. Then it will also have the month, which is the month. It will have the small month, which is the small month. I won't make you sit through this. I'll edit this part out. So this is huge. So now that we do this, we will say current equals parse row current. We're going to parse all 3 of them. Prev item equals parse row prev item. This will get all of the information out of it and validate them. That says next time. That's not right. Now we are processing current meme ID. I think this will work. This is crazy if this works, because we just need to pull a bunch of information out of it. We already did all this stuff. We've already parsed it. We've gotten everything that we needed. So now our file path will have the, yeah, we can just pull this information out of it as we need it. There might be a cleaner way. Python people out there, you probably know a cleaner way to do what I'm doing here, but I do not care. This works just fine for me. This might be everything we need. Now, if this works, it should just work. And what I mean by that is like, oh, we need the meme text, don't we? Yeah. We haven't fixed anything. We haven't added the previous or the next logic, but this should just work as is because we haven't modified anything. So let's go ahead and clean up the issues that we run into. Oh, right. Some could be next, or some could be none. We have to deal with that reality where some can be none. So for parse row, yeah, we might just have to let none flow through. Is there a nice, easy way to do that in Python? Can we just say like, if prev item else none? Okay. I just didn't extract that. So once we process a row, we have all this information, we've done all this stuff. We know if there's a next and if there's a previous, and then we can do work based on that. So what I mean is we can replace next meme with next meme, and we can replace previous meme with previous meme. That might be a little bit confusing, but let me show you the template here. Elson's Fago, I'm going to have to ask you, I don't know, because right now this previous and next doesn't incorporate the year. So did you only want the user to be able to go through a single year? Because it seems like they should be able to click into any year, right? Maybe I'm missing the point here. I kind of want this to be like this, if that makes sense. Because if it's that way, then these previous and next buttons will work always. That might not be what you want. I don't know if that's your artistic vision here. I'm going to operate on the assumption that this is okay. That if you start at the beginning of 2020 and you keep clicking next, you will make it all the way up to present day. That's the assumption I'm going to operate under. We can modify that if you don't like it, but I think that's the way to do it. If prev item, so this means if it's set, then we will set prev meme equal to ... the year, the small month, and the meme ID, but we want that to be for the previous meme. So that will be prev item. Actually, we can just reuse those variables. There's gotta be a better way to write this, dude. I'm just so bad at Python. It's like laughable. It'll work, but else, if that's the case, then prev meme equals a pound sign. This is what you put in a link. So the href, the hyperreference, if it's just a pound sign, it just won't do anything. So, oh, there is no end. You don't end it. It's just, oh man, Python is a wild language. I'm duplicating code right here. It's not the greatest thing. Maybe we could put this into a function, but I think this works. Yeah, this one should be next meme. Next meme. There we go. So if this works, this should do everything we need. Oh, that's why it looks wrong. We need a colon after else. How fun. There we go. So now if we look at this, we should have no previous and we should have one next. So the previous one should just have a pound sign in it. So it does not. That's clearly broken. Oh, I didn't put it in the template, did I? Yeah, I'm stupid. I didn't put it in the template. This should be prev meme, I think. Yeah, look at that. And this should be percent next meme percent. There we go. So now if we rerun the website factory and look at the first one it generated, we will see that, look at this, the previous one is just a pound sign because there's nothing. That's good. The next one, the next meme is 2021, February 2/17, 2021. If we look at our CSV file, I believe that's correct. Yes, that is correct, 2/17, 2021. Awesome, so let's go look at that one. If we look at the 2021 one, then we will see that there should be a prev and a next. The previous is January, and the next is April 2025. That's beautiful. So now if we look at the April one in 2025, yeah, this one should have a previous, but it should have no next. So the previous is 2021, and the next is nothing. Look at that. I think that's it. I think that's done. I think this has all the templating that we need. Look at this, April 18th, 2025. This just works, dude. It's working. This is huge. This is huge. This is amazing. Now, I want this code to be approachable for anyone who uses it. So I mentioned this before on a Mac. I can rename Website Factory to Website Factory or .py to .command. If it's named this and it's executable on a Mac, you can just double click it and it will run. Here's the funny thing about that. If you double click it, it runs out of the user's home directory no matter where you put it. That's not ideal, but luckily with Python, we can do some sort of trickery. Not really trickery, that's not the right way of putting it. We can figure out where our code is running from and run it out of that directory. So here in main, we can do something really simple. We could move into the script directory. And we can get the script dir, I had to look this up off screen, so os.path.dir name, we've used this function before, on os.path.abspath, which will get us the absolute path of underbar, underbar, lowercase file, underbar, underbar. That's a built-in variable to Python. That is the program that's currently executing. Probably put some comments here. Read the HTML template file. Read the CSV file. Loop the rows and keep track of the previous and next items if found. There we go. So the scriptor here, all we have to do now is os.chdr into the scriptor. The beautiful thing about this is if it fails, it will actually just emit an error, but nothing will change by default. It will work the same way we've been running the whole time. So if she were to download this onto her desktop, which I plan on putting that in the install instructions here, then that's what will happen. You'll just be able to put it in a folder on the desktop, double click that folder, and it will just work as long as the template.html and the CSV file are there. The last thing I want to do is because this is going to run on someone else's computer, I want to increase the odds that this just works perfectly without issue. So I'm going to have this thing print a lot of debug information. This is so, let's say something doesn't work. They can just take all the output of this, copy and paste it to me over Discord, and I can manage it. Because I'm not going to be on someone else's computer, but if I put more output, I would rather the thing generate more output than less output. So let's do this. Let's print some system debug information, and we will call print sys info. Now, of course, that function doesn't exist. We have to go write that function. So let's go write that function, print sys info. And there's nothing special about this function. We're just going to have it print a bunch of different information about the system and kind of put it in like a pretty format. So we'll just do some of this. Like I'm talking old school here, you know? Now we can print system information here. So we could print like the executable is sys.executable. So this will be like the Python interpreter that's running. So if we have issues because it's going to be running on a Mac that may not have Python installed, or maybe it's using a system Python that doesn't come with stuff there, then we'll have this sys.version. Maybe we'll pull in the argv. So we'll have the arguments in case this was called the arguments by the system that we didn't intend. And then finally we can do our current working directory. I think it's a function actually, os.getCwd. I think that is the only one that's a function. We probably want to print the system information. Yeah, we want to print the system information after we do any sort of CDing. So if we run the website factory now, we get this because we didn't import sys. I'm a good programmer, guys, I swear. There we go. Beautiful. Look at this. The executable is opt homebrew, opt Python, whatever. Version is 3.14.3. The argv is website factory. The current working directory is this. And then it goes on to run stuff. I want to double check this against the system Python. Kind of scary that we haven't been using it. Hey, it works. That's awesome. Okay, that's fantastic that worked. That called library developer command line tools. That's really funny that that's where that is. Huh. How funny. Totally different version, 3.9 instead of 3.14, but it worked just fine. So that's beautiful. And then it outputs these HTML files. And if we cat them, hey, they look good. I think we've gotten everything. I think this is what we need. I think this will just work. We can also double check this. Remember how we wrote logic to skip the first line if it's not there? If we get rid of it, does it still work? It does still work. Cool. So we successfully skipped that line if we just, I guess, sanity check one of those output files. Yeah, this looks fine to me. That looks good. This is my first meme, January 16th, 2020. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think this is it. I think this works. Let's go ahead and do some cleanup here. Let's make a git ignore. I don't want to check in the out directory. Let's go to the main directory, which was Fago, git init here. Let's just do this. Initial commit. There we go. And then we'll make a readme. So tools for, there we go. Let's get rid of the index 2. There we go. Tools for Allison's Fago. Simple enough. Website factory. To install the website factory, you can run these commands in your terminal. This will install it to a folder called Fago. No. Website factory on your desktop. So that's what I'm thinking. Hear me out. I imagine she's going to copy and paste a couple of these commands, and it's going to create a directory on the desktop called website factory, and it's going to overwrite 3 files there, which will be the CSV file, the HTML file, and the Python file. We'll save the Python file as a command file. We'll then chmod plus exit, and then it should just work. We'll test all that as part of this video, but let's see. Let's make sure we know what we're doing here. Oh, in fact, you know what? As part of the install, we probably will want to pull this. Yeah, I'm thinking as part of the install, we will want to pull it from like GitHub raw. So I will have to actually make a GitHub repository now. So let me go ahead and do that. I created a repo off screen. It's called Allison's Fago. It's on my GitHub. You'll be able to find it there, Bahamas10/Allison's Fago. So now we'll be able to actually get the raw information from it, which is beautiful. So here's what we're doing. I got it pulled up here. So there's no README yet because I haven't actually, committed it. But if we go to Website Factory, we have websitefactory.py, template.html, and data.csv. Let's go ahead and just get the raw file from that. Oh, wow, it actually formats CSVs. That's so cute. Let's grab the raw file. There we go. So now we have the files that we want here, and this is going to be super easy to work with, because what we'll do here is we will make dir. Now we just need to, I think Macs do Macs ship with wget by default? I think they have curl by default. I think we can safely rely on curl being there. I'm on a Mac. Type -a curl, user curl, type -a wget. There we go. Okay, well that answers my question. We're gonna rely on curl being there. Template.html, and that will be template.html. And the final one, we're gonna save it to website factory.capital command. I don't know if it has to be capitalized. I don't think it does. It's a case insensitive file system, isn't it? And then this will be website factory.py. So it's a little bit different, but we're going to save it as website factory.command. And then we will chmod +x website factory.command. There we go. Beautiful. Echo. Or no, actually we could just open it. There we go. No, I don't like opening it. Echo created folder website factory on your desktop. There we go. Perfect. So this should just work. I'm going to commit that as is, because I want to actually be able to run through and test that this works how we expect it to work. I can't even pull status.github.com. I can load my website, so that's working. I can load Google, so that's working. Oh my God, is GitHub having an issue right now at this moment? That's hilarious if so. Seems far-fetched, doesn't it? There's no way it just went down, right? I can't load the status page, but every other website for me loads. Did I just get really unlucky and hit like maintenance or something? What's happening here? The status page just loaded. That took minutes. Says everything's fine, but that status page took minutes to load, dude. Now it's way faster. Still could be on my end, of course. And it get pushed. Dude, they had an issue. They absolutely had an issue here. Or I had an issue. It could, obviously, it could be my ISP. It could be anything between me and them. All right, so if we go here to the main page, there is to install the website factory, you can run these commands in your terminal. You should just be able to copy and paste this whole thing, and it should just work. Now, I want to do things a little bit differently. I kind of want to share my entire desktop, which is something I normally don't do on this channel. Allison Sfago's channel. I want to share my whole desktop so I can show exactly what the entire process looks like. I might do that. Let's see if that can be done in a way that's clean. There you guys go. Here's what the actual desktop looks like. This is what I actually look like when I'm making videos. So we're going to see how this works. All right. I'm going to imagine I am Allison Sfago. I'm coming to this website. These are the commands I need to run. So basically, you go over here, you click this button, copies it to your clipboard. That's beautiful. You run all this, and at the end of it, it should create a file on your desktop. So it's a lot of crap to run. It's a little scary, but create folder website factory on your desktop. Oh, I should probably say created, right? I think that makes more sense. Created folder website factory on your desktop. Also, I should probably, there we go. Okay, so I copied and pasted these commands and it created a folder here, as you can see, website factory. And I opened that up. And now I have three things here, data.csv, template, and website factory.command. So if I click this, watch what's gonna happen. This is weird. It literally opens a terminal and it runs it. Oh, terminal.app would like to access files in your desktop. Allow. There we go. It just ran. It leaves the terminal open. It just ran. But look, it created this out directory for us. So the terminal showed everything that happened here. And as long as it all looks good to you, Allison Sfago, you don't have to keep this open. You can just close it. Like, it doesn't matter. You now have an out directory, and you have these created with your HTML files. They look a little gross because they don't have your CSS styling, but there are your HTML files. They are here. And there you go. That'll just work. So as long as you have an HTML file called template.html, which it pulls down the default template, this is the only file you have to modify. So go to your numbers, go to your whatever you have, export as a CSV. As long as it's called data.csv, that's the most important thing, it'll just generate it. So here, if I deleted this out directory, whatever, and I'm like, oh, let's redirect or let's recreate it. So yeah, when you install it, this is what you get. You double click website factory.command. It'll pop up in a terminal. It creates this for you. And look at this, you're good to go. You can just take these and drag these to your NeoCities, however you do it. I think that's it. And like I said, you don't need to look at this terminal. If there are ever errors, I would just ask you to take whatever's here and copy and paste it to me. So like, that's all there is to it. Yeah, I think that's it. I don't think there's anything else to cover here. Oh, look at this layout. This is so much more comfortable. How do you guys like seeing the actual full desktop there? It's a little bit weird to show that, but it's pretty cool. So I think that's it. That works. The command just worked and it worked beautifully. There may be some stuff I'm forgetting, maybe something that I don't remember. It's 2 in the morning here. But yeah, so there you go. If you made it this far, you are awesome. Ellison Sfago, enjoy this. You should be able to just run that command and you will get the HTML files you want. Obviously, of course, it's all open source. If anybody in your audience, if anyone in my audience wants to look and make changes, they can run it by me and they can run it by you first. But if they fix like bugs or something, that'll be totally welcome. If there's anything else you want, you let me know. This was a ton of fun, dude. Thank you for hitting me up. I appreciate that. You want to write some content and make some videos together. So this will be a ton of fun. I have no idea what the final product will look like, but I am excited for you. Wow. I was about to say, as always, let's take a moment to thank my patrons over at Patreon. Thank you for your continued support, but I don't think this video is going on my channel like a normal video is. I'm editing it like it could be, and if she wants me to also upload it to my channel like my own video, that's totally fine by me. But yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed. This was a ton of fun making it. Ellison Sfago, enjoy your new code. Hope you enjoy the website factory. And yeah, that's all I got. See ya. Just kidding, everyone. It is going on my main channel. So shout out to my patrons over at Patreon. Ignore how bright I am right now. I'm recording this at a way different time than I'd normally be recording this, but I want to tack this on at the end of the video. So thank you so much for your continued support. My patrons at Patreon. This is so much fun. I love seeing your name show up at the end of this. I should have just put it at the end of like the original video. I don't know what I was thinking. I should have just done that because like, why wouldn't I have wanted to upload this to my main channel? Also, it'd be kind of cool. Oh yeah, wow, look at these. Oh my God, the names are so funny. It would have been cool to see like what patrons we had back then when I recorded that to what patrons we have now. But you know, hey, here we are. So I hope you enjoyed that video. Different than my normal content, but still a ton of fun. I love doing these little collaborations. They are so much fun to me. So thank you so much. And yeah, that's all I got for you. See ya.